Hey Elena, hey Jessica, thank you so much for coming on today. And I'm really excited to dive in and be able to showcase your site and talk about all the amazing things that you've done, and how you've built your site, how it's designed, looking at your um, member dashboard area, and really showing people what's possible for creating their own membership site in a way that's simple and doable, but still very beautiful and totally functional. So, again, thank you so much for coming on. And Lena, Jessica, if you want to give just a quick background of your business, we did record a full podcast episode with you, Elena. So if people are interested in learning more about how you built your business, the full journey you've been on, you can listen to that episode, but I think a little context would be helpful to get started.
Yeah, so thank you for having us, and we're happy to share and actually show what our membership area looks like. But essentially, we have a paid community for online language teachers who want to branch off from the big platforms and want to start their own business. And as we all know, when they do that, there's a lot of learning that goes along with it. And in our community, we provide a support system through group coaching, through small materials, tutorials that we release or update every month. And we have a forum where people can ask questions. And we also have an opportunity for people to dive deeper into specific subjects through the courses and books that I have created for them. So that's kind of a, a little overview. And Jessica here, she's actually one of the members of the community and now also helping with the design part of it.
So as Elena said, I've been part of her community for about 3 years now, I guess, and really enjoyed all the content and the community that she's created. And I've kind of had a little bit of a transition myself. I'm focused more on helping designers tell their story. A lot of them with an ESL background, so there is still a language focus, but helping people more with storytelling and that sort of thing. And recently Elena decided she needed someone to help out with her website, and that's something I really enjoy doing. And since I have that design background, it was a perfect match.
Amazing.
Thank you.
That's so great. And yeah, excited to dive in. And today we're really going to be looking at kind of the full membership experience from the front end of the site, from someone just lands on the homepage to viewing the Smart Teachers Library community sales page, the checkout process, the member dashboard, and really just kind of taking a play-by-play look at, the experience someone like you becoming a customer goes through to enroll in the membership. But before we get into that, I thought it might be helpful to just kind of give the 30,000 foot view of the technology stack that you're using, because I know that this is something our customers and the people in our audience and community are always really interested in, is hearing about the different tools that people use. So I know that you're using WordPress, and I think you're on Flywheel for hosting,
Yes.
and use the Divi theme, and you have the layout pack for Member Mouse to style the core pages and everything like that. What are some of the other plugins that you use for your site?
We're using WordPress Complete, and that's a really nice feature because it allows the members to check off the things that they've done. So, since Elena's always adding new content, it really helps you stay organized and keep track of the things you've already done and kind of track your progress.
So some tutorials, not all of them, but some of our tutorials are video based and we're hosting them on Vimeo. Others, I've been uploading them as audio, as that seems to be a format that people like better these days. So people can download those, and those are hosted inside my Google
What
Drive.
do
Well,
you
and
use?
of course, Member Mouse.
Yes.
Yes, of course, Member Mouse for the checkout process and content protection. And I think you have that integrated with MailChimp as well, right?
Right. We have MailChimp for that helps us keep everybody, on the same list. We also use Acuity scheduling for our meetings and Zoom. There's also Podia, a website that we're using for in-depth courses. So our content is kind of twofold. We have monthly content that we put out that is themed, for example, email marketing or social media marketing. And we have a tiny little training that is hosted on my website and within MemberMouse. But then I also have longer and in-depth courses on very specific subjects that people really need, like, for example, how to create a product or how to build a system around your business. Those are more in-depth, and I found that it would be easier to host them elsewhere. So we're using Podia for that. But all the links to all those materials are inside our dashboard within MemberMouse on my website. So if people forget where they need to go, what's next, they can always click the links inside the dashboard.
And do you have a community tool that you use as well?
We are using Slack for communication. We've been using it for 5 years. I mean, for as long as we've had this community, and it's really been helpful. It's very easy to use, straightforward. I think we tried something else with another when we had an event, but we went back to using Slack because it was just easy.
Nice, yeah. And for someone who's watching this or listening, this may sound like a lot of different tools to
It
bring
does.
together. And I think when people start their membership sites or their online businesses, a lot of times you don't realize how many different components and tools are required. But something that I really like and admire about the way you've done things is that when we see the experience, it's all very simple and very streamlined and like accessible. And for the user, it doesn't seem overwhelming. And I think it makes for a really great member experience when they actually log in and see your dashboard and go through the content, and everything is super organized. And I imagine it also makes things simpler for you to manage. So I think without further ado, we should kind of take a look at the site and show people what the process is like for someone to get to your website, enter the funnel, go to your sales page, check out, look at the front end experience, and then we'll look at what the user experience is like in the actual paid private members area.
Yeah. And also just to reiterate what you were saying about, the number of software that we're using. So in the beginning, it was just 2 things, and it was added over time. So I just wanted to give people that idea. So when they look at it and they think, oh, wow, they put it all together. I mean, we've been doing this, we've been running this community for 5 years, and there's been multiple changes over almost, every year we've upgraded, updated, changed plugins, added plugins to make the user experience the way it is right now. So
yeah, and I know that that's something I think you and Eric talked about on the podcast, which was the business will let you know when it's time to grow, when you need new systems, you need new tools. Yeah, this is the site.
yes.
Again, I love the way that it looks. I love the way that you have it designed with Divi. Most people are learning about your site through social media and email. Is that correct?
Yes, mainly it's social media. I'm on Instagram, and I also have a podcast, and so people will find me that way. And then I have a blog, and because I've had this website for 6 years, it usually ranks high in Google searches, specifically the ones pertaining to online language teaching, and then they get on my mailing list. The same way is through the podcast. And then there are 2 ways to get on the mailing list, whether they're on the blog post, then we have a little form that they can fill out and sign up for the newsletter. Or if they just get on the website, then they go here to my Smart Teachers Kit, which is the lead magnet, the so-called lead magnet. People sign up, they receive the Smart Teachers Kit that helps online language teachers learn how to teach languages without one-to-one classes, like to give them a variety of ideas. So that's the page, and they sign up here, and it hooks up to MailChimp. And then here's Smart Teachers Library. And that's what it looks like when it's launch time.
Right,
Because
because you
when,
recently switched to
right,
an open to closed model
right,
versus
right.
always open for
Yeah, it
enrollment.
was open, always open in the beginning because I didn't know what was better. Over time, I figured that it's better to have open close enrollment. And initially I was like doing it every other month. But then I got to a point that I'm going to do it twice a year.
Mhm.
And that will allow me to prepare my audience and also give people the time to learn more about the community and make a commitment. We've also switched from recurring payments to lifetime payments. It's a bigger investment this time, so people need time to think. So bringing everybody in around the same time helps us, my team, to update all the records, to welcome people, to bring everybody together, and have the best give the best user experience that we can, as opposed to if people were just signing up on their own.
Right.
So bringing them at the same time, we have a little party after enrollment closes, and the current members can meet the new members and they can chat. So, but that's the sales page, and that's it's taken me several years to get to a point where the sales page works. Initially, I just wrote, what I thought had to be on the sales page. After a couple of years, I hired someone, and this person rewrote the sales page. And then a year later, I hired yet somebody else because the sales page was not performing. And the person that I hired, she was able to not only rewrite the sales page, but restructure it in a way that helped people understand what the community is about. And so it's all listed here. And then there are payment options.
You're using Member Mouse for the checkout pages, correct?
Yes, yes, yes. So here's the way the checkout page looks. We're
And you have the
using
test service on.
test service.
I'll just point out here you're using the Divi layout pack, the free Divi layout pack we have for Member Mouse, which applies this more modern styling to this page. So cool to see it in the wild.
Okay, so we're going to submit order, and so you get the checkout, then this is the page, the thank you
Confirmation
page.
page. Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually log in here.
Yeah, that is some custom code there, and I'm in the process of actually figuring out how to change that because because it is kind of a complex site, and I've only been working with Elena for a month or two. Sometimes I have to do a little digging to figure out how things were created. But I mean, the nice
Yeah.
thing about Divi is once I figure out how it should be, it's actually pretty easy to make the changes. It's just sometimes kind of figuring out how it was designed by whoever came before.
Right.
And we can go and look at the dashboard, and we're here.
I just thought this was so clean and so elegant while also being simple and approachable. It's can be tricky to figure out exactly how to design your dashboard, but this makes things very clear for people.
One of the things I think we're good at as teachers is, they call this learning design, trying to figure out the best way to create content and deliver content in such a way that your client isn't overwhelmed. Now, it does not come immediately. It comes with the years of practice. And so my idea was, for creating this dashboard and giving it this clean look, was exactly based on this philosophy that I need to give people just enough materials so that they're not overwhelmed. They feel that this is doable and they are excited about engaging with the material and actually implementing it. So therefore, we try not to add materials without, indiscriminately. So we just are very specific. We have about 10 categories here. And so we think it through, like, what is very important right now. And then we also go back and update the materials from previous years. So that way the structure remains. So it doesn't look like, oh, now I have all these new things. It's pretty much similar. We add certain things. We let people know that something has been updated, but the look still remains the same so that a person is not overwhelmed.
One of the cool things about the way this is organized, I feel as a member, is that there's two different ways to look at the dashboard. So this is the way I usually look at it, by categories. So you can see she's got the start here stuff up in the welcome, and then each category is kind of like a theme. So when I'm updating this, anytime there's new content, or every once in a while if we reorganize a little bit, basically each of the bullet points there is a new page that I create in WordPress using Divi. And there's a place where you can just at the bottom choose what category it belongs to, and then it automatically puts it where it belongs. And you can put it, set it to be in alphabetical order. That's how we have it right now. So it does all that for you, and keeps it nice and tidy and manageable so that the audience doesn't get overwhelmed, like we were saying. But then the other part of it is that you can also view the dashboard by the month, because Elena, as she said, has these monthly challenges that we do. And so it kind of helps you to focus each month. If you want to work on the same thing as everybody else in the group, you can look at the challenges by month. And so it's all the same stuff. It's just that each month there's one thing that we're kind of highlighting. And so we do that with a tag. So each of those pages that I create has both a category and a tag with the month. So it's very easy, so then whenever each month I just update this, I add a new row, I change, just change a little piece of code that tells what the new tag should be. So, November 2022, and it just appears on its own. So it's a great system, if you kind of like having these two different options.
Yeah, that is amazing. I love that because, like you said, it gives people two ways to participate, and maybe people do both ways. It's not necessarily one or the other. And it sounds like it's actually pretty simple for you to manage on the back end with WordPress. I'll note too, for the people who may be wondering about how all this content is protected, you're using MemberMouse to protect this category of pages, the Smart Library pages, and associate it with the paid membership level or bundle or whatever it is you're using to protect the content. That's right?
Exactly. Yeah. So each time I add one of these new content pages, there's just a little section integrated with MemberMouse where I can go in and give access to the people who, are part of the community. So, different membership levels, or, if you had some free stuff, you can choose whether or not those folks can see that content. Yeah, MemberMouse gives that flexibility.
So, but here in the beginning, we have the start here button, and where we just have a little video with introducing people to the membership area pretty much. And I encourage people to download the tracker, which is really like a simple sheet of paper that I created for people to kind of stay on top of how much time they're putting into the community. And then once you're done, then you click mark complete, and it's kind of cool because then at the bottom,
oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yes, and the dopamine just so you're excited. And the same thing, we have community.
So that's where people get the link to join your private Slack group.
Yes, so that's what it looks like, and I can and then you can mark as complete, and then it goes back. Then you can go and enroll in the courses. Here's what it looks like, the actual Podia page, which is really nice because Podia allows you to make it look like it's a part of your website, which is neat.
Absolutely. And so
So,
this is like an alternative to using a tool like LearnDash, which would
right.
be a WordPress based course tool
Yeah.
where you
Mm-hmm.
have the progress and the modules and lessons and quizzes and all of that. It's
Mm.
kind of nice because you kind of get to put a more complex thing on another site, not slow down your hosting or overcomplicate anything like that.
Right. Yeah. And then they can join our next group coaching session. And so it's very easy. What you do is just click here and you
Oh,
sign up
nice. And
for
this
it.
is Acuity.
Yes, that's an Acuity, and they sign up for a group coaching session. They get reminders 1 day before and maybe 1 hour before. But this one changes every month, depending on what our topic is. But it's the same topic for the monthly theme, and obviously monthly group coaching session the same.
Nice. And I think down at the bottom too, you still get that completion bar that shows your progress through the
Yep.
whole course.
Yep.
Exactly.
And yeah, previously we had kind of looked at, you had certain modules here, certain sections that had videos. That's where the Vimeo hosting
Mm.
comes in, is protecting those videos on these pages and having Vimeo, you're uploading them there and then just embedding them directly into these pages, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, there's just a little piece of code that I can put into there's a code module in Divi, so I just stick that Vimeo code in and it's very easy.
We also have reflection journals, and those are people can just open this, they can download the journal. That's what it looks like. It's from Google Drive. For example, on creativity, it's very simple. And we encourage people to do that for a weekend, for example, the digital detox. And yeah, so that is kind of a cool thing. And that's one of the things that we also want to teachers to learn, that you can learn sitting in front of the computer. You can also learn by downloading, printing out, and going and sitting somewhere in your cozy spot in the house to take a break. So that's the philosophy behind it. Trying to make a whole variety of materials, not just one specific way. And that's also a part of our marketing, and my marketing, also educating my audience about our membership area, is that it's a library. It's not an online course. You are not required to go from A to Z, and I always tell people, like, when you have a library in your neighborhood, you never tell yourself, oh, I need to go and read all the books in the library. That's nonsense. Like, you don't go to the library to read all the books.
Right.
But you need the library there so that when you need something, it's there. And that's the whole point of our community, and hence it's called the library.
What
Yeah.
sort of feedback have you gotten from your members about their experience in the community?
Yes, I mean, everything that we have implemented, but all the changes that we have implemented, they were based on the feedback. So initially, people were complaining to us the very beginning, when we were not using MemberMouse, that it was very hard for them. Just the user experience of logging in was really difficult, like trying to get the password and then forget the password, and then not being able to get the email with notifications. So that prompted us to go the MemberMouse route. And I have really been so excited and so grateful for this software, because nobody has ever asked me, how do I do what do and if people do ask me their password, or like they need to change the password, and something can't, it doesn't happen, then I can do it on my side, and it always works. So to know that it's possible, and to know also that you have very responsive support, this has been a game changer.
Wow,
Um,
that's amazing. That's so great to hear. And I
yes,
guess connected to that, maybe we can take a peek at the My Account page. If someone did want to update their address or their password or their
yes,
credit card in here, um,
yes. So
this looks great.
that's what it looks like, and then people can change and take a look, and then go back to dashboard and all. People also have really enjoyed shorter content, and bite-sized content is something that people really appreciate. So I no longer I that was one of the things that really compelled me to switch from even videos, even though videos were shorter. Not everybody had an opportunity to watch a video, but now that I have a script and an audio, people have a choice. They can read, and it takes them it's very fast, or they can listen to the audio, and that is another option.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I think especially since Elena has started her podcast, I've noticed there's been more of a switch to including more, audio stuff, and it's nice, that way it suits different people's needs. Some people really like video, but some people want to be able to like listen while they're doing other things, or not have to watch, and certainly having the choice to read. I know for me, if I'm doing something, sometimes I don't feel like listening, or I'm not in a situation where I can listen. Anytime I have the opportunity to just read something, that ensures I will do it right then and not be like, oh, I need to do this later, when I can listen to it or watch it and then I forget, so just having that flexibility makes it more likely that I'm going to do whatever the task I came there to do and not have any reason to put it off. So it's nice.
So for anybody who is watching this that uh, is in the process or wants to build a similar type of experience or site, both of you, I'd be really curious to hear what advice you have for them about designing the user experience, designing the learning experience from your standpoint as business owners, but also as teachers, because I think you've created something so great here, and have a lot of wisdom to share.
Jessica, if you can go ahead.
Sure. Well, I would say maybe two things. From the content side, what Elena was saying, I think it's really easy as teachers to just be like, blah, here's everything I know, and just hit your audience with so much. I know I'm guilty of that, and I think all of us kind of start that way. And so, and Elena's extremely prolific, so I'm sure it's hard for her too. But because it's so well organized and bite-sized, it feels manageable. And so having this kind of a structure, and having the option for the little checks and knowing what you've completed really helps. And so I think thinking through that, how to manage your content and make it easy for your audience, and getting feedback from your audience is a great way to start. And then from the design side, some folks are intimidated by using WordPress and Divi just because there's so much you can do. I enjoy that kind of stuff, and so for me, it's a fun challenge to kind of figure out the better ways of doing things. And they both have great support, so I feel like I can always figure out a way to do what it is that I want to do, or what Elena wants to do. So to me, it's worth investing in that to make sure you get the best experience for your audience that you can.
There's a lot of other platforms out there that are more templated and maybe quicker to implement straight out of the box, but then ultimately can become very limiting because you're not able to sort of create your vision and design the type of experience that you want. The other side is with WordPress, you have full control and it's entirely up to you, essentially. So I think knowing which type of personality you have, or just knowing what you're getting into before you get started, is really helpful.
Yeah, I would probably also add, from the standpoint of learning, design is less is more. And in the beginning, I was trying to do too many things and offer too many differently themed content. So some of it was just, on language learning, or teaching rather, and the methods part of the teaching, like how do you teach, this part of language and so forth. But over time, I realized what is really important for me is not, these are language teachers, they know how to teach languages. I need to pull all the content that has to do with that and focus on the business side, because that was what was important. And even though I did have some teachers that were like, well, can you teach us this or that? I just told them that we are only focusing on the business side of running online teaching business. And so that helped me pull out all those materials that and go through and sift through the materials that did not work with my vision anymore. So that's probably important. And then again, less is more, not to be afraid to offer less. And for me personally, because when I started a membership site, I knew I needed to have help. And so it's okay, So I had the idea that I will be able to bring people into the community and make it sustainable, so I can afford to have someone come in and help me with the design side of it, something that is probably not my strong suit, and it's something that I really don't want to think much about. I would rather focus on marketing and bringing people in. So also recognizing your strengths, and if this is the route that you want to go, you can find help, and you can start small, and hiring someone to help you, get started and walk you through it is possible. And if you have a good enough audience, you have built a good enough audience, you can do it, so just not being afraid to ask for help, and then, because then it creates this, like, I now work as a team, like, so I don't, nothing, if something doesn't work quite right, I don't feel like overwhelmed that now I need to drop everything and try to solve it. Like, I can go to Jessica and say, I don't know why this thing isn't working, can you check? And then she goes and checks it. And so that really, that really works well. We also have a web developer who just makes sure that, all the plugins are friendly to each other. So that's another side of it. But, he comes in, he checks things in once a week. It seems like overwhelming, but in the end, if everybody focuses on the task that they're best gifted at, the result is your community is growing, you have new people, you have money coming in, and you're able to then reinvest and improve, and people are able to bring their friends, and it doesn't look ugly. Like, it's just all those good things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Elena, Jessica, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for
Do you have
inviting us.
of course, any resources you want to share, or we can put links in the blog post?
Yes, there will be obviously my website, elenamutonono.com. You can go and browse the website and check out our page and the podcast and, other things. And then Jessica has her own website.
Yeah, mine is jessgardnercoaching.com. Just my name, Jess Gardner. And if you have any questions about Divi or the design side of stuff, feel free to email me.
And you still got to make that course about how to create your own amazing, colorful background, because I'm telling you, it's not as simple as you made it out to be.
Okay, I'll do that.
We definitely need to get together, talk about then the membership side of things, the recurring membership versus lifetime. So that will be a
I think that'll be a
continuation.
good second podcast episode. Maybe,
Yeah.
and maybe next year we'll have you back on the podcast to
That'd
talk
be
about
good.
that transition, because again, another thing that people in our world are very curious about: what is better, continually open evergreen models, or twice a year launches? And there's people on both sides, and I think
Yeah.
that depending on your business, both can work, though one may be better for your sanity or for your revenue. So yeah, big topic. We can definitely explore that in the future.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Awesome.
so much.